Good morning, dear children. Welcome to the online classes of St. Lawrence School, Unnao. Today, I am going to teach to class 8, subject Civics, chapter 2. In that, three main organs of the Indian government, and I am going to teach about the executive. In the previous chapter, you have studied about the legislature, and today I am going to teach you about the executive. What is the meaning of executive? Executive means the legislature body, whatever laws are framed by them, it has to be executed or it has to be enforced. So here, meaning of executive is that organ of the government which enforces the laws made by the legislature and runs the administration of the country. It consists of President, Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. Now, what is parliamentary system? In the parliamentary system, there exists a clear distinction between nominal executive and real executive. The president is the nominal executive and the head of the state. The real executive is the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. Just now we are going to study in detail about the president. The President of India, the President is the head of the state and first citizen of the country. Then who can become the President? For that, the qualifications for election, first point is the person should be citizen of India. He or she should have completed the age of 35 years. C. Qualified to become a member of Lok Sabha. Now, what is the term of that president? The president holds office for a term of 5 years and he is eligible for re-election. Means in continuation, a person can be the president for 10 years. The president may resign from office by writing to the vice president. Very important, he has to submit his resignation letter to vice president. Now, how the president is elected? Election of president. The president is elected by the members of electoral college consisting of first elected members of both houses. Both houses here means Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Then B. Elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states. The Chief Justice of India administers the oath of office to the President. Now, how the President is removed? If the President is not doing its work properly, he has to be removed. So, how he is removed? The process is called impeachment. Now, what is that process? In case of violation of the Constitution, the President may be removed from office by impeachment. The resolution to impeach the President may be moved in either house of the Parliament. Now, what are the position and powers of the President? We will see in the executive powers. The executive powers laid down are under the following heads. He is the head of the union government. All executive orders are issued in the name of the President. Second, formation of Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister is to be appointed by the President and all the other ministers are appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. Third, power to appoint and remove high dignitaries of the state. The President appoints the Attorney General of India, judges of Supreme Court and High Courts, governors, ambassadors and other diplomatic representatives of India abroad. Legislative powers. The President also possesses the legislative powers. Now, what are those? The President has the power to summon and prorogue the houses of the Parliament and to dissolve the Lok Sabha. Second, the President nominates 12 members to the Rajya Sabha and can also nominate 2 members of the Anglo-Indian community to the Lok Sabha. Every bill requires the President's assent, means signature, in order to become an act or law. Now, judicial powers we will see. The President has the power to grant pardon, reprieve or remission of the punishment. No criminal proceeding can start against the President in any court during the term of office. Emergency powers. Now, President also has some of the emergency powers. What are those? There are the three emergency powers: war or external aggression or armed rebellion. Means if any foreign country has put an attack on our country, at that time the President can launch emergency. Then failure of the constitutional machinery in a state, threat to financial stability in a country. Just now we have gone through all the powers of the President. Now we are going to study about the Vice President. The Vice President is definitely under the President. Qualification for election. He should be a citizen of India, should not be less than 35 years of age and should be qualified for election as a member of Rajya Sabha. He should not hold an office of profit under the government of India or of any state. Now, what is the term of office of the Vice President? The Vice President holds office for a term of 5 years and is eligible for re-election. He may resign from his office before the expiry of term by writing to the President. Now, whom the Vice President, if he wants to resign, has to submit the resignation letter to the President. Removal from office. How the Vice President can be removed from the office? The Vice President may be removed by a resolution of the Rajya Sabha passed by majority of its members and agreed to by Lok Sabha. Election of Vice President. We have already seen how the President is elected. Now, very little difference is there. You see for the election of the Vice President. The Vice President is elected by an electoral college consisting of the members of both the houses of Parliament. Means all the elected members of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha can elect Vice President. Powers and functions of the Vice President. The Vice President is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He regulates the debates and proceedings of the House and decides the order of speeches. He can adjourn the House in case of grave disorder. The Vice President may take over the office of President under the following situations. Death of the President, if the President of India has died, at that time the Vice President can take up his office. Then resignation of President, then removal of President. The Prime Minister of India, till now here we have studied about the Vice President. Now we are going to study about the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. In the Prime Minister of India, you can see appointment of the Prime Minister. How the appointment of the Prime Minister is done? The Prime Minister is appointed by the President and the other ministers are appointed by the President but on the advice of the Prime Minister. Position and power of the Prime Minister. We can see the Prime Minister and the President, the relationship between the Prime Minister and the President. The Prime Minister is the link between the cabinet and the President. Here it means whenever the Prime Minister is having the meeting with the cabinet, whatever decisions are taken, all those decisions are communicated to the President by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister keeps the President informed on all matters of government. In appointing and removing high officials, the President always acts on the advice of Prime Minister. Prime Minister, now the relation between the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. The President appoints ministers and allocates work among them on the advice of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister's resignation means the resignation of entire Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister presides at Cabinet meetings and decides the agenda of meeting. Prime Minister as leader of the nation. We all know that Prime Minister is the leader of the nation. Now you see the Prime Minister is recognized leader of the nation. The nation looks to the Prime Minister for views on every subject. Countrymen expect leadership from him or her. Now we are going to study about the Council of Ministers. It consists of all categories of ministers: cabinet ministers, ministers of state, and deputy ministers. Powers and functions of the Council of Ministers. We will see here formulation of policies. The cabinet formulates external and domestic policies of government such as defense, economic reforms, and formulation of new state. Second, financial responsibilities. The cabinet is responsible for the expenditures of the government and raising necessary revenues to meet it. Legislative functions. The cabinet prepares the president's special address to the parliament. In the matter of issuing ordinances, the president acts on the advice of ministers. The cabinet may move an amendment to the constitution. Ministerial responsibility. Now we see in the ministerial responsibility two, AB, collective responsibility and individual responsibility. The Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha or to the House of People. The ministers are individually responsible to the head of the state. The ministers can be dismissed by the president for their undesirable activities. Methods by which Parliament ensures ministerial responsibility. Now there are different methods. We will see here moving an adjournment motion for discussing important matter. First point. Second, moving cut motions when the financial matters are under consideration. Third, moving censure motion against an individual ministers for their failures. Fourth, moving a no confidence motion which is moved by a member or leader of opposition. By this, we come to the end of the chapter. Thank you.